Amina was not just a girl from a small village in Ghana, she was a rising star. On social media, she was Amina_Asantewa, a name that echoed with pride and power. Her content was a beautiful, curated dream of African excellence. She didn't just show clothes, she showcased stunning Kent and Ankara styles, teaching the history behind each pattern. She didn't just cook, she presented elaborate feasts, narrating stories of her ancestors with each dish. Her platform was a celebration of her culture, and the world loved her for it. Brands from Lagos to London lined up to work with her. Her mother, Mama Esi, a wise woman who sold spices in the local market, would watch her daughter with a worried heart. "Amina," she would say, "this phone is a good servant but a bad master."
My dear, you must understand the gravity of this situation. Our kingdom depends on it.
Do not let the world's applause make you deaf to the whispers of your own spirit. But Amina was flying too high to listen. Her engagement was everything. She dreamed of a blue tick, of international features, of being the face of modern Africa. Her content had to be flawless, her pictures perfect. The turning point came when she was shortlisted for the prestigious Golden Baobab Award for Digital Storytellers of the Year. The winner would be decided by a final, public vote. This was her chance. She needed to create a masterpiece. She decided on a photo shoot that would stop every scroll. It would be called The Spirit of the River Goddess. The concept was breathtaking. She would be submerged in the sacred Buzumbu River, draped in white calico, with native lilies in her hair, as the sun set. It was a risky, dangerous idea. The river was known for its strong undercurrents, and the elders forbade such disrespect to the sacred waters. Mama Esi was horrified. "My child, no. The river is not a backdrop. It is a spirit. It gives us life, but it can also take it. You cannot play with it for likes. Amma, this is 2024, Amina retorted, her eyes blazing with ambition. Those are old superstitions. This shoot will show the world the beauty of our traditions. It will put our village on the map." Her mother's pleas fell on deaf ears. Amina hired a videographer from the city who cared more about the shot than her safety. On the day of the shoot, the sky was overcast, and the water looked dark and unwelcoming. The village elders sent a warning, which she ignored. As the camera rolled, Amina waded into the cold water, her white cloth flowing around her. She struck pose after pose, a serene, goddess-like expression plastered on her face. The videographer shouted directions: "Deeper. Go a little deeper. I need the reflection of the sky." Pushed by her own ambition and his demands, Amina ventured further out. Suddenly, a sharp, cold pain shot up her leg, a cramp. The current, which she had dismissed as a myth, grabbed hold of her. The heavy, waterlogged calico wrapped around her legs, pulling her down. Her serene expression shattered into one of pure panic. She gasped, swallowing murky water instead of air. She thrashed, but the river goddess, offended by her vanity, showed no mercy. The last thing she saw was her phone, propped up on the tripod on the riverbank, still recording, its red light a mocking, unblinking eye. The videographer, realizing too late, jumped in, but the current was too strong. By the time he and some fishermen pulled her out, it was over. Amina_Asantewa, the rising star, was gone. The perfect shot had become a recording of her final, tragic moments. The news spread like a bushfire. Influencer dies in dangerous stunt for content. The Golden Baobab Award she craved now posted a tribute instead of a winner's announcement. The brands that chased her disappeared. The world mourned for a day, then moved on. Back in the village, Mama Esi sat in her quiet home, holding her daughter's favorite headscarf. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant, gentle murmur of the river. The village elders simply shook their heads. They had seen it before. The hunger for outside validation had consumed another bright light. Amina had wanted to showcase the beauty of her culture to the world, but in her desperate chase for the perfect picture, she forgot the most important lesson it had to teach: respect. Respect for nature, respect for tradition, and respect for the fragile line between life and death. Her story became a different kind of lesson, a somber folktale told to remind the young and ambitious: do not sell your soul for a trend. For the fame you chase is a fleeting shadow, but the peace you destroy is eternal. Your culture is your foundation, not your prop. Mama Esi's grief was a heavy, silent thing. It did not come with loud wails, but with a quiet that settled over the compound like a thick, sorrowful dust. She continued to sell her spices in the market, her hands moving automatically, measuring, wrapping, taking money. But her eyes, once bright with wisdom and laughter, were now hollow pools of loss. The villagers would greet her softly, their voices filled with a pity that only deepened her pain. They all knew the story. It was on everyone's lips, a modern-day tragedy that had unfolded right before them. Amina's phone was returned to Mama Esi by the police. It was sealed in a clear plastic bag, a cold, hard relic of a life extinguished. For weeks, she could not bring herself to open it. It sat on a small wooden stool in the corner of her room, a constant, accusing presence. Finally, one evening, with trembling hands, she took it out. The screen lit up, and she was immediately greeted by a flood of notifications, comments, tags, messages of condolence that now felt like empty echoes. Driven by a morbid need to understand, to see the last moments of her daughter's life through her own eyes, Mama Esi opened the video gallery. She found the file, titled River Goddess Final Shot. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she pressed play. She watched her beautiful Amina, so full of life and ambition, wade into the water. She saw the transformation from the daughter she knew to the goddess she was portraying. And then she saw the moment it all went wrong. The panic, the struggle, the terrifying silence that followed after the videographer stopped recording. A sound, raw and guttural, escaped Mama Esi's lips, a sound of grief so profound it seemed to shake the very foundations of the house. But her pain soon curdled into a cold, hard resolution. This video was not just a record of her daughter's death, it was evidence of a profound disrespect, a warning that needed to be heard. The 1-month anniversary of Amina's passing coincided with the village's annual festival to appease the spirits of the river. The whole community gathered at the banks of Lake Buzimtu. There was drumming, singing, and prayers. The chief and elders poured libations, asking for forgiveness and blessings. When it was time for community reflections, Mama Esi stepped forward. The crowd fell silent. In her hand, she held Amina's phone. "My people," she began, her voice thin but clear, carrying over the water. "We are here to honor the river. We ask for its continued life. But 1 month ago, my child, my Amina, forgot this honor. She saw this water not as life, but as a background." She held up the phone. This thing, this small box, it promised her the world. It promised her fame. But it only took. It took her respect for our ways. It took her caution. And finally, it took her life. She did not play the video. She didn't need to. Her description was enough. "I am not here to shame my daughter's memory. I am here to shame this foolishness that is stealing our children. They are so busy trying to show the world how beautiful our culture is that they are forgetting to live by its principles. They seek validation from strangers in distant lands while ignoring the wisdom of their own elders sitting right in front of them." Her voice grew stronger, fueled by righteous anger. "Amina is gone. Her fame has vanished like smoke. But I am still here. And I say to every young person listening, look up from your screens. See the real world. Your value is not in how many people double tap your picture. Your value is in your character, in your respect, in your community. This, she said, gesturing to the sacred river, is real. That, she pointed at the phone, is an illusion. With a final, decisive movement, Mama ESI drew her arm back and threw the phone. It sailed through the air in a high arc, a glittering black slab against the setting sun, and landed with a soft plop in the center of the lake. The water rippled for a moment, and then it was gone, swallowed by the very spirit it had offended. A collective gasp went through the crowd, followed by a deep, respectful silence. It was a more powerful sermon than any could remember. Mama ESI turned and walked back to her seat, her head held high. The loss was still a sharp stone in her chest, but it was now joined by a purpose. Amina's story would not just be a cautionary tale about the dangers of a river, it would be a legend about the danger of losing oneself. The village would tell it for generations, a story of the girl who had the whole world in her hands, but forgot the sacred ground beneath her feet. Months turned into years. The story of Amina_Santua slowly faded from the internet's memory, replaced by new trends and new stars. But in the village by Lake Buzumtu, her story became woven into the fabric of their oral history, a permanent legend told by the elders. Mama ESI never fully recovered, but she found a new purpose. She started a community group for the village youth, teaching them not only the histories behind the Ken patterns and the traditional recipes, but also the deeper meanings of respect, patience, and community. She used her daughter's story as her most powerful lesson, a sobering reminder of the fine line between pride and prideful folly. The lake remained, sacred and serene, its waters a mirror reflecting the sky, a constant, beautiful, and powerful presence that demanded respect. Life in the village moved on, but now, when a young person held up a phone to capture its beauty, there was a pause, a moment of reflection. They would remember the girl who traded her life for a perfect picture, and they would always remember the sound of her mother's voice and the final, silent splash that echoed a mother's ultimate lesson. On the quietest nights, when the moon shone on the water, some say you can still feel a presence, a whisper on the wind, not of anger, but of a profound, eternal regret. A reminder that some prices are too high to pay, and that the most valuable things in life can never be filtered, uploaded, or liked. Thank you for joining us for this heartfelt story. If this tale touched your heart, please let us know by liking, sharing, and subscribing to African Tales by Zai. Your support helps us keep our rich traditions and powerful stories alive. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Until next time, stay blessed and remember, our roots keep us grounded, but our stories help us fly.